Good afternoon, everyone. Greetings from the Institute of Professionals IGP Bangladesh. Greetings from the Institute of Global Professionals IGP Bangladesh. Thank you all for joining us and staying with us till the end. Honorable knowledge seekers, good afternoon. My name is Aritra Moshak and I am from Bangladesh. Dear IGP knowledge seekers, I am proud to be associated with IGP as a global mentor. IGP is a social and ISO certified international training institute. In last 3 years, we already served 3 million knowledge seekers from 100 plus countries. IGP is internationally recognized affiliated. We are connected to more than 250 plus professions and 4,500 plus organizations. Institute of Global Professionals IGP is the training for skill development which was founded in 2020 and is generating competent candidates to meet demand in the global labor market by providing professionals qualifications. Institute of Global Professionals is an education institute that provides social work globally recognized and reputable. We serve students and community resource providing holistic social work and education. We believe that it's not effective to increase one's skill just by acquiring formal education. So we provide effective training and consulting to generate proficient generation all over the world. We distribute our service locally, nationally and internationally to students, job seekers, job holders, and also for learners, though respect location and distance learning platform. We are an occupational and dependable institution. IGP is one of the famous institutes from all over the world. Our vision is a business product. It's a part of our human rights. Based on our vision, we are trying to reach all corners of the world for free webinars, seminars, courses, awards, quiz covering and counseling, etc. On the other side, we are also trying to serve more than 100 premium services for free like create own portfolio website, resume builder, cover letter, motivation letter, knowledge platform for gathering general knowledge which can update all day. Kids learning games, website free courses, convert sites and many more. We help to empower youth to learn to meet their and dreams and becomes highly skilled teacher. We implement several training programs, webinars, and offline online courses for youth and learners by professionals, trainers, speakers. Our sessions are conducted by globally renowned professionals to develop on kind of youth and to promote the education of their abilities and personalities. To ensure excellent and in-depth instruction, we arranged with qualified trainers, speakers, and instructors. We extended free service to more than 3 million knowledge seekers in the last 3 years. We have universities and organizations in 70 different countries. Virtual mouse signing with many colleges and organizations have been accomplished. We are working to create a legendary generation to future scholars and citizens who will be accountable. We are constantly prepared to assist all knowledge seekers with valuable service. Spreading knowledge is crucial. The Institute of Global Professionals. We believe that knowledge is love, light, and vision, so we will try to understand the need of today's world. We will serve them good research and practiced method. We must have a genuine concern for the learners. We represent more diversity, growth, and innovation, and require continual improvement so that individuals who seek information can improve their skill levels and values. Before we move to the next, let me remind don't forget to tag and mention your friend in the comment box. Your support is very valuable to us. Thank you. Before we move to the next, let me remind don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. Your support is very valuable to us. Thank you. Moving to the next, with your continuous support, we already completed 1294 webinars. Wow. Moving to the next, with your continuous support, we already completed 1294 webinars successfully. Wow. Adding to start our 1295 webinars name is Emotional Intelligence, and our today's speaker Dr. H.C. Ambassador Meherin Mian. Before I hand over the stage to ma'am, want to share a little about our speaker. She is an CEO, founder, the MEA company, global speaker, lecturer, transformational coaching, and a multiple global award winner. Now, very important moment for me to invite our speaker to IGP with her presentation. Now, very important moment. Invite our IGP with her presentation. Hello, ma'am.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, ma'am. What
Good.
about you, ma'am?
I'm fine, thank you very well.
Ma'am, on behalf of IGP Knowledge Seekers, wants to hear from you about you.
Yes, thank you very much, and thank you for the
Ma'am, on
introduction.
behalf,
Um, can,
yes, ma'am.
can you
Ma'am,
hear
please,
me?
you can start your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. So first, let me say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody across the world, wherever you are. Thank you to IGP for this platform and for bringing all of us from across the globe together to learn from each other, to grow together, and of course to share whatever we can so that we can help to build humanity as much as possible. Today, I think the moderator, thank you so much for the introduction again. He mentioned that today's episode is 1295, and I'd say, wow, well done. Congratulations to IGP. And we look forward to many, many more to come. I think that's historic, and there's legends that are being made through the platform as well. So, congratulations, IGP. Today's topic, a very, very important one. You probably heard of it before. You probably read about it as well. It's more and more important, especially with the activities going on across the world today. Very important for us to understand, especially how it relates to us as people, as a person, as an individual. So we talk today about emotional intelligence. And I pray that at the end of today's session, you will be able to understand it a bit more clearly, especially regarding you as the individual, not necessarily only attached to how the importance of emotional intelligence regards your people around you and circumstance only and what it does to you. Now, remember that when it comes to happiness, when it comes to success in life, we have to know that emotional intelligence really does matter. It helps to boost you. It helps to build your relationships to make them stronger. It helps you to achieve whatever goals you set out to achieve. And the key factors for you is for you to understand that this emotional intelligence is the ability to understand your emotion. It is then the ability to also use that emotion that you are feeling and manage that emotion in a positive way so that you can relieve whatever stress you might be experiencing. Communicate more effectively. Whatever your emotions are or your thoughts are, you need to be able to communicate it in a very good, positive, diplomatic manner. And being in touch with your emotional intelligence is going to help you to empathize with other people. It will help you to overcome your challenges that you face. And of course, it will help you to deal with and diffuse any kind of conflicting situation you are faced with. So, emotional intelligence will help you to build stronger relationships. It will help you succeed both at school and at work. It will help you to achieve your career goals, your personal goals, and it can help you to connect. Emotional intelligence is to help you to connect with you, connect with your being, connect with your feelings, connect with your emotions, connect with your thoughts, and turn intention into action. Make informed decisions about what really matters to you the most. And when we think about this, we think about emotional intelligence into a few kinds of attributes, which are very key for us to understand regarding us as people, regarding us as individuals, because when you understand these attributes better, you will be able to grow your intelligence about your emotions even better. Some of those attributes that are contributing towards your emotional intelligence patterns that you have, one is self management. Very, very important because you have to be able to learn to control your feelings and your behaviors, especially when they impulsive feelings or something that just happens or triggers within you. What is your behavior? You need to learn via emotional intelligence how to control that behavior based on what you have just been feeling. That way, you then learn to manage your emotion in healthy ways. You take initiatives, you follow through on the commitments that you stay committed to, and adapt to any changing circumstances that can try to alter that commitment that you make. That is you self managing. That is you managing yourself through managing your behavior and feelings. The second important attribute to your emotional intelligence is self awareness. Self awareness, for me personally, is absolutely key. It is absolutely key for you to grow yourself, to learn more about yourself, to develop yourself. So, when I'm talking about self awareness, I'm talking about you. You being aware of yourself, you being aware of your emotions within you being aware of how is that emotion actually affecting my thought? How is this emotion actually affecting my behavior? You being aware of how this emotion is strengthening me or weakening me. Do you have a strength or weakness attached to the emotion that you are feeling? And it builds or breaks your self confidence. But either way, this attribute of self awareness is key. It is key for you to growing and developing you, but also key for you to empower and motivate and inspire you yourself to get through that phase of emotion and feeling and thought that you are going through. Your third attribute to emotional intelligence, which I believe is very important, is relationship management. Now, you know that we all have relationships. We have relationships with many, many people around us. We have relationships with family, with friends, with spouses, with children, with colleagues, with other peers, etc., etc. Relationships are around us all the time. A very important relationship that I wish to make sure everybody is always, always, always aware of is your relationship with you. Please build on your relationship with you because that relationship you have with yourself is absolutely key. So remember, when we're talking about relationship management, we're talking about you need to know how to develop good relationships. Then you have to learn how do I maintain those good relationships? How do I learn communication skills in my relationships that work positively for me? And when you learn about these things, you will learn then how to inspire and even influence others, how to work well in teams, how to build yourself with your peers, how to deal with conflicts as they arise, whether in school, whether it's in corporate, whether it's in your home. But that relationship management is key to your emotional intelligence development. The other attribute for me that is also important for you is social awareness. We're surrounded by social activities. We're surrounded by being part of social life. And you need to be able to develop traits of empathy, sympathy, and you need to understand emotions. You need to understand what needs are. You need to understand what concerns other people, what concerns you, how you both react to each other based on those concerns you pick up. And when you're doing this, you will pick up on emotional cues that will either make you feel uncomfortable or comfortable. Or you will sense the comfortable or uncomfortable feelings of others because you will learn to empathize properly. But either way, you will grow in these dynamics to be able to recognize the power of these emotions and how to be able to relate to them so that you don't get the negative connotation of emotional intelligence. You would rather get the positive outlook, the positive feedbacks, and the positive know-how of how do I deal with things. So the four attributes for emotional intelligence that I believe that are key, I will just relay them by name again. We said one is self-management, the second is self-awareness, the third was relationship management, and the fourth was your social awareness. Somebody may say to me, well, why is it so important that I need to know so much about social intelligence? Why do I need to know so much about my social awareness? Why do I need to even know about this emotional intelligence aspect? Life is as hectic as it is. How is it going to help me? What is the importance? Why is it even important? It is important because you are important. And for you to develop and grow yourself, it is important for you to understand these concepts related to you, related to you as an individual, so you can relate them to whatever is around you. We know, and I know this, some of the smartest people are successful, they have fulfillment in their lives, and you also probably know people who are brilliant academically brilliant, and yet somehow socially they're a little bit inept. Somehow socially they're a little bit unsuccessful with personal relationships, but yet they are so academically inclined and they keep boosting themselves academically, but socially there's this imbalance. So there's an imbalance in their lives all the time. Have you seen this? Because this is there, it is out there. Intellectual ability, or what we call intelligence quotients, are not enough on its own to achieve success in life. We need to be able to balance this intelligent quotient with our emotional quotient. For us to find that balance is key. And the key to getting that balance is the concept of awareness. Because when we are aware of what is not working, what is not gelling, what is not enough, what is it that we need to add on, we will then be able to say, okay, here's what we need to do. Here's the steps I need to take. But if you are not aware of the change that needs to be made, you're not going to be able to make the change that's necessary for positive impact. So remember, your intelligence quotient is important. It is very important, especially to get you into college, to get you to tertiary education, to build you academically. That will probably get you the income, yes. But your emotional intelligence is going to help you to manage the stresses of life. It's going to help you manage yourself in that college, in that university, in your corporate field where you're earning the income. That emotional intelligence is going to help you manage you. Because when you're facing the exams of life, it is the emotional intelligence that's going to kind of outweigh the intelligence quotient. Because the emotional intelligence is going to take over and it's going to say to you, here's how we have to cope with this to get the positive result, even academically. So we need to really understand that emotional intelligence affects your performances. It affects your performance at work. It affects your performances at school. And this heightened emotional intelligence that you will have will navigate you through social issues that you will have at your workplace, the issues that you can even have at school. And having this heightened sense of an emotional intelligence will always lead you, but it will also lead others. It will motivate you, but it will motivate others. And this will help you excel even more, firstly within yourself and with your people around you. And again, not just for you in a workplace, not just for you in the school, for everything, even for you at home. It is key for us to know how to deal with these emotions, how to cope, how to be intelligent and smart about how we deal with what we are feeling and experiencing. So when it comes to really trying to find, for example, a good job candidate, many companies actually rate emotional intelligence as part of their technical ability. And they employ emotionally intelligent people before hiring any other because they know the key factor for a person to cope with stress in a work environment is how do they cope with it? How do they cope with the stress? How do they cope with anything that is negative or that's going to cause stress when the challenges happen at work? These are important traits when you're looking for jobs. It's key. Now, emotional intelligence also impacts your physical health. And if you're not able to manage your emotions, then you are probably not managing your stress level either. They go hand in hand, and we need to realize that this can lead to serious health problems sometimes. Uncontrolled stress will obviously have many other physical ailments. You'll have, for example, your blood pressure will increase, your immune system will diminish, you probably have a risk of having a stroke or heart attacks. All of this can contribute to so many negative things in your physical self. And the first step to improving that, the first step to improving your emotional intelligence is how do I manage it? How do I manage the stress level, for example, that is causing all of this havoc inside me? How do I handle what is causing all of the stress and the burdens that I am feeling? How do I handle the issues that I'm facing in this world or whatever is compounding itself that's hurting and making me feel bad? How do I manage this? To answer that question, you go backward to what I said earlier. You have got to be aware that it is negatively impacting on you. Do not wait for it to compound to the effect of where you've actually had the stroke already. And then you realize you've had the stresses of so long a time that they've become so built into you, your body does not heal. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse because you don't deal with the situation when it hurts you the first time. So it compounds itself into worse and worse and worse emotions, worse and worse and worse feelings, worse mental health issues as well. Because uncontrolled emotions and uncontrolled stress can impact your mental health very negatively. This can then make you very vulnerable, especially to anxiety and depression. I know in my field of work, I deal with this on a daily basis. I deal with it with clients all the time. I deal with it now mostly with children, which is very sad because children too have got this level of anxiety and depression that we thought at one stage was only adult related. And that is because there is this compounded effect of emotions that are not dealt with appropriately. There's this compounded effect of emotions that are just put under a carpet because people don't know how to deal with them, or worse still is that they're not even aware that this is there. So if you are unable to understand that emotion, if you're not unable to get comfortable with your emotion or manage your emotions, then you're going to struggle with your relationships, excuse me, even with yourself. You're not going to build strong relationships, they're going to be weak. And your relationship with yourself is going to always be where you think of yourself adversely. You think of yourself in the negative all the time. That's going to create even more of a less confident approach to yourself. This is going to leave you feeling almost lonely or alone and isolated. And that is going to make your mental health problems become worse. So eventually, you have the mental health issue compounded by the physical health issue, and both of those together are going to drain you. The key to avoid this is for you to be really, really in touch with your emotional intelligence. Important factors like your relationships, I keep talking about this now. By understanding your emotions, how to control your emotions, you will then be better able to express how you feel to people, and you will understand how others are feeling at the same time. So you will respect them for expressing their emotions to you, for expressing how they are feeling to you, and you will be able to control your reactions to that as well. This allows you to obviously then communicate more effectively and you forge stronger relationships with people. Again, not just work, not just at school, but also with your family. So your personal life also gains when you learn how to build these strong relationships, how to be able to converse properly with each other with the positive impact as the goal in mind. When we talk of this emotion and getting involved and understanding it very intelligently, we have to learn that we are trying to say, be more in tune with your emotion because it actually has some form of a purpose. When you are in tune with your emotions, you are so in tune with yourself that it fulfills a small part of your purpose. And part of that purpose is a social purpose. So it connects you to other people, relating again to what I spoke about regarding relationships. And it also helps you to connect with people and the world around you on a very different, heightened level. So social intelligence becomes important here. And this social intelligence will enable you to recognize who's your friend, for example, and who's your foe. Who are people I need to link with? Who are people I need to stay away from? And you will be able to kind of learn how to measure other people's interests in you, reduce your stress levels about your relationships, balance this nervous system issues that come up when you see people, when you're involved in very nerve-wracking situations. But being in touch with your emotional intelligence allows you to grow through that social communication. When you identify these, and then you will feel the happy, okay, inside you to get through those conflicting situations you can find yourself in. Now, remember I spoke earlier that there were the 4 attributes, right? There are skills that you are required to have that help you with your emotional intelligence over time. Because it's important to remember that there is a difference between simply learning about emotional intelligence and applying that knowledge in your life. Because it is that application, that implementation of what you are learning, for example, from me today, what you are learning is good, but you need to take from me, let it resonate with you, and then implement it in your life because that is where you will see the benefit. Not just learning about it theoretically, not just listening to me only, actually applying it in your life is key. So because you know you should do something, doesn't mean that you're actually going to do it, especially when you become overwhelmed by stress, which can then override your intentions, which can be positive. Your intention can be positive, but the stress level is so negative that it doesn't allow for the positive intention to come forth. Now, in order to change this behavior, you have to stand up under pressure and you need to learn how to overcome stress in these moments in your relationships and in order to, of course, remain emotionally aware. There are key skills, very important skills, and there's a long list of them. I'm not going to go into each one of them in detail, but they're important for you to manage your emotions and connect with others. And for example, they are, like I said before, the self-management, the self-awareness, the social awareness, your relationship management, your building of your emotional intelligence. Now, when you're speaking of the self-management, please remember that in order for you to engage your emotional intelligence, you must be able to use these emotions in a constructive decision about your behavior. So you need to be able to be very honest with yourself. Because remember, this is about you. And the only person who knows you is you. So if you are going to be able to change things about you, it is only your honesty about yourself that's going to get the change done. You need to be able to be constructive in your analysis of yourself. When you are trying to manage you as a self, again, talking about the self-management attribute, you need to be honest with who you are, what you are facing, what are your triggers. And when you become overly stressed, you can lose control of your emotions if you don't have these things in place. And when you lose control of the emotions, you then do not act with thought. You act very inappropriately, and the consequences to that then are very negative. So you need to think about a time when stress overwhelmed you. Go back in your life and think about a time when stress really took you over. Was it easy to think clearly at that time? When things are just really all over the place and they're hurting you and you're feeling all of this anguish and you're feeling all emotional, but you don't even know what emotion you're feeling, but yet it's just taking over you completely. Have you been there? Have you been in that situation? And if you were you able to think rationally? Were you able to think clearly about what you should be doing at the time? Because you probably weren't. When the stress levels and the emotions override you, when you become overly stressed, your ability to actually think clearly and accurately, um, also your ability to assess yourself and your emotions, even other people's around you, that it just becomes very compromised. And when that becomes compromised, then the balance of what is required for you to get through it is also compromised. So emotions are very important because they are little, they're almost like pieces of information that are being programmed. When you're programming yourself onto a computer, you actually work into how to develop what needs to go where. And I am not an IT specialist, so I could be wrong, but this is what I believe. And when this is done, this is how we're able to do what we're doing today, technologically, because things were programmed into specific maneuvers for things to react and act in certain ways, right? Same applies to you and your emotions. Your emotions are little bits of pieces of information that are actually telling you about you and yourself. It's also emotions that are telling you about you and others. It's teaching you about the stress levels. In the face of stress, however, you are out of that comfort zone of seeing those little things clearly. And we then become so overwhelmed by that stressful emotion or whatever has caused that we lose the control of the self. And when you're able to manage your stress, when you're able to stay in what I would say, when you're emotionally present, when you know that I am now here, this is how I'm feeling, it is negative, you can then learn how to receive the upsetting information, the stuff that is hurting, the stuff that is not good, the stuff that is negating you and draining you, and you will not allow it to override your thought. You will not allow it to override your self control. You'll be able to make choices and you will allow yourself to control this impulsive feeling and behavior. You, you will be able to manage your emotion in a healthy way. You will follow through if you have commitments and not allow the stressful situation to stop you from staying committed to what your loyalties need to be about. So it is very important for us to manage the stresses, manage the emotions, because the only thing you can control is you. Managing this stress is another step of how you will build your emotional intelligence, but the science of your attachment to the things also doesn't allow you to see things very honestly sometimes because you don't want to see yourself in a bad light. You actually want to continuously see yourself in the right all the time. You want to see yourself in the I'm best at this all the time. The key to you growing you, the key to you actually developing you, especially if you wish to be a leader in today's world, is to understand that you are not right always and we don't ever know everything. So when we want to learn about us, when I want to grow myself, when I want to become more aware of my things, become more aware of my emotions, learn how to get through situations, how to lead people properly, how to lead myself, how to lead my family, I need to be aware. And I need to be honest with myself about that awareness because your ability to manage that anger, your ability to manage fear, your ability to manage happiness, even. All of this depends on the quality and the consistency of your early life emotional experiences. We found this in studies, we found this in theories, but it is actually impactful. How you live when you're growing up, all of this impacts on certain things, and it helps you to understand those so you don't react negatively as you're growing up. Because sometimes your growth and your experiences from childhood could be negative. That doesn't necessarily mean you are going to be the negative and the wrongdoer when you are older. If you are free to be able to access and know these are the negatives that happened in my life and I don't wish them to be repeated for me, so I'm going to make changes to make sure I am better, my life is better, that is the possibility, and that is you being aware, that is you managing, that is you actually growing, and that is where you will know that I'm in touch with me, the core of me, and I'm growing myself through this. Nothing that is so negative from my past is going to negate me in my future because today is my gift of time. I'm going to take whatever was, convert it from the negative into positives now because I am emotionally intelligent enough to do this. I know what was the negative emotion attached to what happened before. I'm going to now redefine and rewire this whole thing, and I'm going to make sure my future does not have repeats of what happened before. So being able to connect to your emotions, having a moment to moment connection with yourself sometimes is really important, because it's the key to understanding how emotions influence your thoughts and actions, which is why most of the time, especially us, when we're doing these with the workshops with our people, we always teach people to give gratitude every day. Why? Because when you are at the end of your day giving gratitude for anything that happened in the day, what are you actually doing? You're actually picturing your entire day. You're actually picturing, what did I do from morning till that point? You are connecting with yourself, with your emotions, even that are attached to all of your experiences throughout the day. And then you are learning that this is how this actually helped me, or this is how this actually never helped me. This is what you are doing. So you will then ask yourself a lot of questions when you're doing this. And as you start to write down, for example, something about your day, you will attach an emotion to that experience, or a feeling to that experience, or a thought to that experience. And automatically certain questions can come up. Like, do you experience feelings that flow? Um, and these are questions that actually attach themselves to your action. Because when you experience these questions, you then automatically think, how did I act or how did I not act? What should I have done? What shouldn't I have done? So when you're thinking about your day, when you're thinking about certain things, moment to moment, be aware. Is there a flow in what you're experiencing with your feelings? Are you encountering one emotion after the other when you're experiencing moment to moment connections? Are your emotions accompanied by any physical sensation that you experience in places like your stomach, maybe, your throat, maybe, your chest, maybe? Does your chest get tight when you think of someone or something? Does your throat get itchy or something when you think of someone maybe you didn't say something to? All of these are important energies that you need to get more in touch with regarding your emotions. And that is going to be another topic for another day at some point. But these are questions that are very important. Do you experience the anger, the sadness, the fears, etc., when you have certain facial expressions? Or do you keep it quiet on the face, but you experience them inside only? So they have this regurging feeling and they keep growing inside you? Or are you able to facially express your discontent at something? Can you experience any intense feeling showing that you are strong to other people while you're experiencing that? Or do you feel that you are somebody who has to keep it all inside? You won't be able to do anything. If these are unfamiliar, then get familiar with it. Because in order to build your emotional intelligence and become emotionally healthy, you have got to connect with yourself. You've got to connect with your core emotions, accept them, and be comfortable with them. Be comfortable with who you are, because those emotions are about you. It is your emotions to other things, to reactions. Your emotions to reactions. So either people are reacting to you and you are emotionally attached to that reaction, or it's emotions that are contributing to how you react to things. And the key to you learning how can I change things, how can I alter things, beside managing yourself, beside being aware of yourself, the next key important factor is you being mindful. Being mindful of yourself. Mindfulness is the key, another key. And it's actually focusing so much on you. Being mindful focuses on you in that present moment and without judgment, because this sense of mindfulness is very, very important, because it's a kind of a shift. It shifts from your thought towards an appreciation of a moment. You are mindful. You need to be mindful that this is a trigger. This is what emotion it's created inside me. And I need to be mindful now of what I'm feeling and how I will react. So if I feel like I'm volatile and I might react negatively, I will rather walk away or stay quiet. These are little skills that are required, and it happens over time. But the key is for you to be able to learn that you can and must grow through it. It's up to you to learn these specific skills and traits to adapt them for you yourself. Because we are surrounded by people, whether it's at work, whether it's at school, whether it's at home with our families, and that social awareness is key, because that is where we recognize and we interpret the non-verbal cues that are happening, that are communicating with you. And these cues let you know how others are feeling sometimes, how others may be thinking sometimes, and how their emotional states may be, and what might be important to them. And that obviously affects how you would be. So, for example, you might walk into a function and you might expect to see somebody there and be all happy to see you, etc. And yet the person appears to you as somebody who's down, something is wrong. How often has that happened? Where you suddenly see somebody who you think is happy all the time, and when you see them, you just immediately feel like something's not good and you say, what's wrong? You're not looking right today. That's because you are aware, you are mindful, you are able to get the gist of what is going on in that time frame. That is key, because then you are able to manage that relationship. So when you saw that person and you realize the person is feeling like that, the process begins of where you are now emotionally aware of what is going on. You are be able to recognize and understand what that person may be experiencing. And once this kind of an emotional awareness sets in, and once it takes its course, then basically you are developing that additional social or emotional skill that's going to make that relationship you have with the person more effective, more fruitful, more fulfilling, because that person feels, wow, this person actually does know me. This person actually does feel for me. This sister does recognize my emotions. And it helps them grow through what they are feeling. So becoming aware of how effectively you use this communication is also important, because it's impossible to avoid sending messages out with your energy that's around you, and your muscles in your face, your eyes, the light in your eye, and something about you will always be able to converse your emotion, even though you might try to hide it. It always happens. So someone might attend some space, like I said earlier, and they don't realize that there is someone who actually knows them well enough to recognize that there's something wrong with their aura, or something is wrong with their being, something is wrong with their appearance, and feel that something is going on there. So they will ask. One of the key things I learned is, excuse me, when there's humor, when we use humor and we use play to relieve the stress, it's so good, because humor, laughter, playfulness, especially when you have children around, they're this natural antidote to stress. I know, for example, when I am feeling a little bit overwhelmed by stuff or whatever, my daughter's smile is my stress reliever. And she will just know, okay, here's the thing. And we have like these little words that we say to each other, or she will just spark off something that I know is going to make me smile or laugh, or her humor, something she says funny will make me laugh. And that alone de-stresses. So build your connectivity, firstly with yourself, then with others around you, so that even they are able to sense what and where and how we can help each other. This kind of humor, like I said, lessens your burdens. It helps you keep your things in perspective. It doesn't help make things get overwrought and unbearable and overwhelming. So we have to learn that conflict is all around us. We have to learn to see this conflict as something that can help us as opposed to destroy us. And one of the biggest things that I teach all the time is that adversity is your opportunity. When you have to embrace adversities, you are actually growing yourself. See your difficulties as opportunities of growth. See your conflicting issues and how you can grow closer first to yourself. What is this teaching me about me? How can I grow through this? Because conflicts and disagreements are always going to be there, especially in terms of human relationships. But you cannot possibly have two people have the same needs, same opinions, same expectations all the time. And you need to learn how to manage that difference that's always going to be there. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing when all of us see things differently. Sometimes it's a good thing, because it creates different perceptions and different concepts. And that's important, because that helps us grow with each other. So resolving this kind of conflict that we find in healthy, constructive ways helps us to strengthen ourselves. It builds our trust between us and people, but more so, it builds the trust you have within yourself. When this is not seen as threatening, when your conflicting issues are not seen as harming, when your adversities are not seen as something that's taken over you and really overriding your senses of, I can get through this, then you have this freedom of safety. The freedom of safety within yourself, the freedom of safety to grow in your adversity, to grow with whatever is a conflicting emotion that you are experiencing, because you are aware of the self. You are able to manage the self because you're able to build your relationships and because you are mindful. We are able to get through anything once we are aware of these traits, once we are managing these things. Because today's topic, emotional intelligence, is what? I'm not going to give you the scientific topic. You can Google that. The topic is emotional intelligence. It's simply for me teaching you how do you become intelligent about your emotions. And becoming intelligent about your emotion is key for you to becoming the best version of you, the most authentic version of you. To living your life to the fullest of its potential is you knowing about you first. So who better? Who better to learn about your emotional intelligence than you yourself? So take the time to grow yourself, to learn more about yourself, to develop your emotional intelligence, because being intelligent about your emotions is going to get you through anything and anywhere in the world. But being intelligent about your emotions is being intelligent about you. And being in touch with you is you being in touch with your emotion. So you need to remember that this world is always going to throw you the obstacle. This life is always going to have obstacles that you're going to have to get through, people that are going to come and go, pain, experiences. Everything negative is going to always be there. How you define yourself and your reaction to all of those is the key. And one of the key factors is getting in touch with your emotional side, being intelligent about how to use your emotions, how to actually learn about your emotions so that you are aware, you are managing, and you are coping, and you are mindful. Because once you are doing that, then you know, I am emotionally intelligent. I am intelligent about this emotion, and the situation doesn't control me. I control the situations. I control my reactions. That is the key. I will pause there and say thank you so much to the Institute of Global Professionals again for this wonderful opportunity, and to all of the partners to IGP. And thank you for you, the listener, listening to me. And I'm hoping that I resonated with somebody who's going to take the message of today's webinar, and you're going to not just listen to me, you're not just going to make notes, you're going to actually implement and apply the knowledge you have gained from the session into your life for the benefit of you being emotionally intelligent. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your rich content presentation, which can impact our knowledge seekers surely. After your presentation, I hope our knowledge seekers can learn something new, which was our only intention. Learn and grow together. I have a knowledge seeker. Again, thank you so much, Leah, ma'am, for your presentation. Now, ma'am, it's time for question answer session, which is the most valuable part of our regular webinar. On our webinar, stay with us. After a short video, we will come back in our session part 2, which is the question answer part. Dear IHP knowledge seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have webinar certification and online quiz competition. Ma'am, after a short video, we will come for the question answer session. Sure. Welcome back, ma'am.
Yes,
Welcome back,
hello.
everyone. Dear IGP knowledge seekers, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know our speaker. Thank you. Our speaker is waiting for your question. IGP knowledge seekers, please ask your question in the comment box. Dear IGP knowledge seekers, please ask your question in the comment box. IGP knowledge seekers, please ask your question in the comment box. Our speaker is waiting for your question. I hope you covered full topic properly. That's why here is no more question. Here is no question.
Thank you.
Yes, thank once again, thank you so much, ma'am, for your time in IGP. We have learned a lot from you with a new topic. It will add some value to our day-to-day activity along with our academic and professional growth. Honorable ma'am, hope to you see again with a new topic and a new date.
Thank
Till
you.
then, honorable ma'am, before we move to the next webinar certification process, if you want to leave this studio, you can. And thank you for
Thank you very
coming
much.
and sharing your experience.
Thank you.
And you can leave this studio. IGP knowledge seekers, it's time for the webinar certification process. The most attractive and powerful part of our regular webinar. After a short video, we will start our webinar certification. After webinar certification, we have an online quiz competition and quiz certification. IGP knowledge seekers, it's time for the webinar certification process, the most attractive and powerful part of our regular webinar. After start our webinar certification. After webinar certification, we have an online quiz competition and quiz certification process. Thank you. Today's some our technical problems we cannot share our certificate code. We provide our certificate code in a short time. Thank you. Today's some technical problems we cannot share our certificate code. We provide our certificate code in a short time. Thank you. Hey, IGP knowledge seekers, it's time for the most engaging part of this webinar, which is the online quiz competition, which is our regular webinar activity. Now, time for the online quiz competition. To do the online quiz competition properly, please follow my instruction carefully. First of all, you have to go www.slido.com, then find this today's quiz or scan this QR code for direct joining. And the code is global IGP. And the code is global IGP. After a short video, we will start our quiz session. Thank you. Enjoy your quiz session. IGP knowledge seekers, please join in Slido with code and the code is global IGP. And the code is global IGP. IGP knowledge seekers, please join in Slido with code and the code is global IGP. Already 18 people joining us. IGP knowledge seekers, please join in Slido with code and the code is global IGP. IGP knowledge seekers, please join in Slido with code and the code is global IGP. Nineteen people joined with us for this session. Dear IGP knowledge seekers, please join Slido with code and the code is global IGP. I have 20 people. Let's start. Our first question in this session is emotional intelligence can be quantifiable. First option is true and second option is false. Emotional intelligence can be quantifiable. First option is true and second option is false. True is the right answer and 55% people are right. Moving to the next question and our second long question is What is emotional intelligence? First option is L is a way to thinking, and second option is L is the knowledge of yours and others' emotions. Second option is the right answer, and 77% people are right. Moving to the next question, and our third known question is: can you improve your emotional intelligence? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes is the right answer, and 100% people are right. Moving to the next question, and our fourth known question is: what are the type of emotional intelligence? First option is self-awareness, emotional control, and disconnect. Second option is awareness, emotional management, emotional connection. Second option is the right answer, and 82% people are right. Moving to the next question, and our fifth long question is: emotional intelligence is first option is knowledge how your dog feels, and second option is being able to recognize one emotions as well as other emotions. Being able to recognize one's own emotions as well as other emotions, the right answer, and 100% people are right. Moving to the next question, and our sixth long question is: which of the following is not emotional intelligence? First option is solving problem, and second option is displaying empathy. Solving problem is the right answer, and 86% people are right. Moving to the next question, and our seventh question is: which is not a component of emotional intelligence? First option is goal directed, and second option is social skills. Goal directed is the right answer, and 70% people are right. Moving to the next question, and our eighth long question is: which of these is not a cluster of emotional intelligence? First option is many pollutions, and second option is relation management. Many play, uh, manipulation is the right answer, and 86% people are right. Moving to the next question, and our ninth long question is: at work, emotional intelligence can help us resolve conflict. Is it true or false? Who is the right answer? And 100% people are right. Moving to the next question and final question in this session is which is not a chara- characteristic of emotional intelligence? Self-esteem, and second option is self-regulation. Self-esteem is the right answer, and some people are right. Congratulations to our webinar online quiz competition winners top 10. Congratulations again. Slide will take a few minutes for finalizing the result. And after that, we will issue our online quiz competition certificate on our official Facebook page and Institute of Global Professionals. Congratulations to our webinar online quiz competitions winners top 10. Congratulations again. Slide will take a few minutes for finalizing the result. And after that, we will issue our online quiz competition certificate on our Facebook page and group. Institute of Global Professionals. At the end moment of our session, we can say properly feed your skills. Never stop learning because life never stop teaching us. We help and stay safe. See you again and again. We want your participation in every program. If you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or things. Albert Einstein, before I say or hit the end live button again, wants to thanks to all IGP knowledge seekers for our active participations. As always, see you in the next session. Thank you.